Over the weekend, we saw the announcement of a ton of new games over a bunch of different showcases. I watched them all, so you don't have to. You can thank me later for that one. For the sake of time, I'll be going over the key moments from the games and from each showcase. This is not going to be a comprehensive list. Sorry about that. Hi, my name is Andrew Marinelli. I've been an internet and video game journalist for about 10 years now, and also a gamer for life. And welcome to this video. Summer Games Fest is the Jeff Keighley-led E3 replacement that really could. SGF has still not found the sweet spot between ads, reveals, and DLCs, showing that the fact that it's only been running since 2020. Going into this year, I really only had one thing on my bingo card.
Arc Raiders.
This game has been in development since 2021, which started with a really interesting tech demo of these giant-ass walking robots, and in 2025 has turned into a co-op extraction shooter kind of thing. In it, you and your squad fight against other squads and fight against the aforementioned big-ass robots. That's what we call in the gaming industry PvPvE, which is basically just player versus everything. When I tell you I was hyped for this game, it's a little bit of an understatement. The subreddit and the Discord communities were fighting, telling us that I swear it's going to be released. And the hype train did gain a lot of momentum when the developers put this countdown to the Summer Games Fest in the last stress tests code. The community, including myself, saw so much gameplay from the stress test, and plus the sentiment from the people that were privileged to play it, and we really just had to have it. What followed was the most disappointing news that the game is releasing, but October 30th of this year. The date came on screen and I genuinely screamed, not in the good way, and I do have a video of it. I will definitely play it. No! I have a more detailed account of the Arc Raiders saga and drama, and I will come out with that closer to launch, especially since the whole story hasn't been written yet. Another game that we got was the date for the new Mafia game, Mafia: The Old Country. As a big fan of Mafia, and if we're going even farther back in time from the previous titles, I'm kind of in on this. Count me in. This one tells the story of what seems to be the origins of mafias in general, taking place in Italy in what seems like 17th century, maybe 18th century, and this is coming out August 8th. Really interested in it. I'd love to see some Tommy guns in Italy. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm sure that's not what's going to happen. We had games announced that included 2 Atomic Hearts games. One is Atomic Heart 2, which is probably predictable at this point, given how well the first game went, and the Cube inside the same universe. As much as the original game was a successful shooter, it failed to capture a wider audience playing on the BioShock nostalgia. Mungfish might be able to strike a chord with a second try with these 2 additional games that are really kind of expanding the universe. Actually, I'm more interested in the idea of the multiplayer game that they're working on, which is called The Cube. It's a MMO shooter with a changing map, plus the visuals and the environmental storytelling of the original Atomic Heart. I am hopeful for an interesting multiplayer offering from the developer. We'll see how that goes. We had Sonic Racing Cross Worlds announced, the next-gen racing from the Sega team. These games mostly have been quality, I think, so far for the franchise. I don't understand why I'm seeing indie developers kind of make better Sega games than Sega themselves, especially these Sonic games. I mean, I'll put a game called Haste onto the screen right now. This looks like a better Sonic game than anything Sega could ever be able to do. So I'm really sad to see indie developers really making better Sonic games. Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny. This was the one game that drew the eyes of the non-gamers in the room that I was watching it in while I was watching the Games Fest this year. This seems to be a D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, and role-playing game kind of pushed into one in a very tight, kid-friendly form, which really could be a good entry point for a lot of kids into the genre and younger people into the genre looking for a start into Dungeons and Dragons. If it's really able to deliver on that, I'll definitely support it. With the most interesting of art directions from the Games Fest, felt that boxing looks like basically a fake game. But like many games before it that are changing the idea of what games should look like and can look like, it seems to be a surprising little gem amongst these Dark Souls clones or these Call of Duty clones. They did show gameplay, which is really interesting to me, and I immediately did not believe it at all immediately. I still actually don't believe that it's gameplay, but you can be the judge of that. No release date, but wish listing on Steam is very promising. Who knows when it will actually come out. I'm going to move on to the Xbox showcase now. I kind of went in with low expectations for this one. Xbox has been a soggy wet towel with these announcements this year, but I am happy to let them dry it out before presenting a decent lineup of games coming straight from Xbox, especially when they were saying that everything that they're showing is Game Pass or at least coming to their handheld, which I will get to in a second. The day one on Game Pass bit really is just a flex at this point, since that means that the games that are remotely good looking will get downloaded by most of the Game Pass subscribers, which is a quickly growing demographic with both Xbox and PC Game Pass. First off, we got the news that Hollow Knight Silksong is still coming out this year. Very excited for everyone looking forward to the highly anticipated sequel to the indie gem that really kicked off the independent gaming publishing trend going on right now. The gameplay looks snappy and very technical, which is exactly what we are really looking for from this. It's one of the biggest announcements of the live stream for me and for many others. We got the announcement of the first Xbox branded handheld, which seems to be just a revamped, already existing PC handheld called the ROG Ally, adding an extra button, changing the handling to be more like an Xbox controller, optimizing Windows 11 for gaming are kind of the main three things that they did to this one. They're trying to set it apart from Steam and the Steam Deck and be very much a competitor to it. And I definitely wholly support it. As a mostly console player, I can see that this is an important bridge into the real PC gaming market, as this will feature other storefronts like Steam and Epic straight out of the box. This is a very important step into the future of gaming where Xbox and Microsoft aren't just two different sectors anymore, and they are just a combined unit, taking down the console market and taking it away from the overlords, which are Sony and Nintendo at this point. A major stipulation is the unannounced price, which I think is affected by the tariffs. And this will absolutely make or break this handheld for a wide variety of people. I'm going to go through a lightning round of indies that were showed off by Xbox. We're going to have Super Meat Boy in 3D, just a twist on the perspective, which looks really good. Beast of Reincarnation looks like a very interesting Robo Studio Ghibli Dark Souls clone, looks really good. High on Life 2, which just looks like the first game, but on a skateboard. I don't think that's a bad thing. A game in the Plague's Tale universe called Resonance, which features the first real weapon in the series, a bow and arrow, which is totally not a played out trope at this point. Do we remember Crisis 3? Mudang Two Hearts looks like a really interesting third person shooter, kind of looks like Korean Last of Us, which I can't tell is going to be a good or a bad thing. And Alphalon, which is from the Life of Strange creators. It's a new game set on another planet. Looks really good. And Xbox came with the heavy hitters right at the end, which was kind of the opposite of the Summer Games Fest. We had Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 Remake, finally showing a bunch of gameplay, special characters like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Doom Guy, which is actually insane to see. Biggest news is that there's 8-player multiplayer and a release date of July 11th. Gears of War Remake got some great news, cross-play co-op, split screen campaign, and August 26th release date on Game Pass, of course. This will be the first time I'll be jumping into the series, so please tell me if this even looks good or if it's even worth purchasing, please. I genuinely have no idea. The insane Invincible animated series is getting a video game, but it's not as all what I thought it could be or what I could have imagined, especially with the mods out there of games turning into Invincible games. At first I was like, please just be a Spider-Man 2 wingsuit reskin, like that's all I need. Then as I watched, it was obvious that it turned into more of a fighting game, which could be good. As I was watching, slowly the game got smaller and smaller in my head as I watched them just show me a Mortal Kombat reskin. This game could have been so much more, so much fun. You could be throwing people through skyscrapers in an open world, but instead we are confined to small arenas with static side profile perspective. And then at the very end, Black Ops 7 was shown and it threw the internet into a shitstorm. This was the one more thing, and this could have been really big for Xbox. However, they had to capitalize on their purchase from earlier this year and have Call of Duty be the highlight of the show, which kind of felt shoehorned in, really. Straight up just a cinematic trailer. The only information that we got was that the leaks were actually true, and that we are looking at a Black Ops 2 sequel with the return of Menendez and hopefully the return of a proper transit with modern technology. Lastly, I will touch on the PC gaming showcase that literally just happened as I'm recording this. I like the new information that we got from FBC Firebreak, and I am looking forward to playing that one. The Alters looks really good. I will check it out once it comes out. Excited for No More Room in Hell 2. And so happy for more information about the James Bond game. I will be playing that day one. Overall, I was happy with this year's showcases. Happy is just the word, not excited, not elated, not over the moon. I think there is nostalgia for E3 and other showcases that have happened in the past that really had these big games that don't feel as big as they are nowadays. I do think that is something in the future that we should be paying attention to, because some of these games might really turn into something really big and be the next, Among Us or something like that. So I do try to keep in touch at all the new showcases for the new games every year. What I was hoping for was Arc Raiders, and overall I'm seeing way too many story games right now. I do need to see a lot more co-op games, because I see the future of these PvE or player versus AI controlled computer players. Games like Helldivers and FPC Firebreak are going to be the future of what gaming is. We need to create these big moments for the clips that are going to be going on the internet. And I really do think that co-op, people working together against one big goal, kind of is the future of that. And I do think that Helldivers 2 kind of showed us that. But of course, there's tons of other games that are like that. I just think that Extraction really is going to be like Marathon, like Arc Raiders, like Helldivers going forward. And if that Extraction genre can really start to become more mainstream, then we're going to see games like that pop off. I was just disappointed that I didn't see a lot of them. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to try and do some more breakdowns, some more deep dives on games and other things that are going on in the world. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day.